Jim Carrey just proved that we can no longer tell what is real and what is fake, because this interview of him looks and sounds nothing like the world-famous actor we once knew.
You know, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy.
This viral clip had millions of people making accusations that Jim Carrey was cloned, or at least using a body double, which is something he has admitted to doing in the past.
I've done this a few times now, and it's using a decoy.
I'm sorry, a decoy?
Using a decoy. It sounds so ridiculous, but it works like a
double.
It's fantastic.
But the conspiracy ramped up to a whole new level when an artist who specializes in making realistic masks posted what appears to be what Jim could have been wearing on the red carpet. Plus, it's not like it's the first time a celebrity has had widespread rumors that they have been cloned and the star we once knew is secretly somewhere else, or dead. However, there is a lot of misinformation spreading, as well as important context you need to know before you come to the conclusion of what happened to Jim Carrey. But you still won't be 100% sure, because in 2026 we constantly have to ask ourselves the question, is anything we ever see genuinely real? Jim Carrey attended the César Awards in France to receive an honorary award for his versatility as an actor. When he jumped on stage, audience members were impressed that he gave his 5-minute acceptance speech entirely in French.
Bonsoir. Merci beaucoup. C'est très gentil. En tant qu'acteur, chaque personnage que vous incarnez, c'est comme l'argile du sculpteur.
Now, Jim Carrey is not fluent in French. He just practiced it out of respect for the country and culture and his fans. And while the French people in the room applauded this kind gesture, fans at home couldn't help but notice that Jim Carrey didn't look like himself. His appearance after the awards seemed to shock everyone, especially when comparing to photos just a couple years ago. His eyes looked brighter and almost glassy. The wrinkles around his eyes looked different. His eyebrows were faded and raised, his jawline looked crooked, his cheeks looked abnormally puffy, and even his skin looked plastic in a way that lost all his expression. But as soon as he started speaking in English during the post-event interviews, it was almost like his entire personality had been swapped with someone else's.
I practiced it like crazy.
수백만 명이 동시에 같은 의문을 품었습니다. 이 사람 정말 짐 캐리가 맞는 걸까요? 지금부터 증거들을 하나씩 살펴보겠습니다.
But, you know, it's, then I watched everybody talking 1,000 miles an hour up there, receiving their awards, and I was like, I'm dead. And I made mistakes, and I was like a novice. I felt a lot of love, and I felt a lot of appreciation that I tried.
Now, to be fair, higher resolution photos of Jim from that night do make him look slightly more normal, but there still seems to be this uncanny feeling everyone has that he doesn't quite resemble the Jim we once knew. His behavior was concerning, especially when you consider what we saw in 2017, where Jim was very against the idea of accepting a superficial award presented by a corrupt body of voters on a carpet full of people pretending to be more important than they are.
I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am.
But it is important to know that when Jim Carrey was mocking the industry in this interview, he was in a lot of pain. His girlfriend, Cathriona White, had passed 2 years prior, and he felt like he was going through the monotonous motions in a meaningless Hollywood environment. Then again, Jim has a long history of being openly outspoken against the powers that be in corrupt Hollywood, like when he went on Kimmel in 2014 and mocked the Illuminati.
I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
Some people looked at his mockery as brave, that he was potentially exposing the truth and putting his life in danger. They also used this to justify that he was somehow dealt with to prevent him from continuing his attacks on Hollywood, because it wasn't too long ago that he was talking about things you never hear A-list actors talk about.
Or we go through the gate of forgiveness, which leads to grace. Your being here is an indication that you've made that decision already. You've made the decision to walk through the gate of forgiveness to grace, just as Christ did on the cross.
However, others perceived Jim's new appearance as him submitting, conforming, or falling victim to the new Hollywood order, and because of this, it's reopened conspiracies about celebrity clones, how people with fame, wealth, and power are allegedly replaced by someone else to, well, We don't know why. Now, most of these theories are lacking extremely substantial evidence. For example, there have been repeated attempts from chronically online people to convince the world that Eminem was cloned years ago. They'll share side-by-side photos of Slim Shady with a slight difference in his hairstyle and skin, completely leaving out the context that they're using photos from him in his 20s with photos of him in his 40s after overcoming a brutal alcohol and pill addiction, which we all know that drugs and alcohol can drastically change one's appearance.
클론설은 짐 캐리만의 이야기가 아닙니다. 에미넴, 아브릴 라빈까지 셀럽 교체설은 늘 반복됩니다. 하지만 대부분의 진실은 훨씬 단순했습니다.
Even Jim Carrey admitted to doing this.
Using a decoy, it sounds so ridiculous, but it works like a
double.
Jim Carrey double.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
So what I do is I send him off in one direction, sucks all the press in that direction, and I can just have my day. And
whatever you want to do.
Wherever I want, totally unmolested. It's fantastic.
But it gets pretty disturbing when we're not talking about Hollywood celebrities and instead people who hold public office or pull the strings in powerful positions.
짐 캐리는 이미 오래전부터 대업을 활용해왔다고 직접 시인했습니다. 그렇다면 이번 세자르 시상식에서도 같은 일이 벌어진 걸까요?
But when it came to the new face of Jim Carrey at the Caesar Awards, things only got more complicated when someone on social media posted an alleged Jim Carrey mask that looked eerily similar to what we all saw on the red carpet. On March 2nd, 2026, a mask and makeup artist named Alexis Stone posted on Instagram with Jim Carrey's face saying, "Alexis Stone as Jim Carrey in Paris." Along with the initial photo, Alexis posted another image with Carrey's new look, along with what we now know as an AI-generated image of a Jim Carrey mask and makeup. But when you learn more about Alexis Stone, a collaboration with Jim Carrey just seemed to make sense. Most of Alex's stunts involve him putting on a mask and makeup with a comedic twist, like dressing up as Cruella de Vil, Miss Doubtfire, Mona Lisa, and Jack Nicholson. Although people know these are just costumes, he still attracts the press, who swarm him with photos. I wouldn't be surprised if some people were fooled. Alexis runs a Scotland-based special effects makeup studio where I can only imagine he works with the entertainment industry to create realistic masks and bodysuits. Now sure, a lot of his masks look obnoxious, unrealistic, and uncanny on purpose, because it serves as great marketing for his business. But other masks he makes are incredibly realistic. Ones where if I saw him in real life and I wasn't paying attention up close, I wouldn't be able to tell that it was a mask. And even if Alexis was just trying to take credit for something that he didn't do, which is genius marketing by the way, the idea of him and Carrey coming together to essentially prank the world sounds like something Jim might do.
그리고 결정적인 단서가 등장했습니다. 한 마스크 아티스트가 SNS에 올린 사진 한 장이 전 세계를 뒤흔들었습니다.
Had reached a full-blown awakening. While other actors and performers mindlessly walked the line to secure their careers and the next big paycheck, Carrey wasn't afraid to bash the industry as a soulless example of elitism in American life.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
한때 짐 캐리는 할리우드의 위선을 정면으로 비판한 배우였습니다. 그랬던 그가 지금 이 모습이라면 무언가 달라진 것이 분명합니다.
Plus, the very thing that made Jim Carrey iconic and relatable to begin with was what he was able to do with his face. Even before Jim Carrey was famous, he was mastering the art of completely transforming his own face to capture different personalities.
Nicholson doing the Joker.
And when it came to Hollywood's perception of the way people looked, Carrey always appeared to find a clever way to mock the superficial behavior, like when he went on the Graham Norton show and made a light joke at Margot Robbie's expense.
Wanted to talk to you because you're amazing and I'm so excited for you.
Oh,
it's incredible that you've gotten as far as you have with your obvious physical disadvantages. That's just pure talent there. Just a talent override there.
It was his decades of wacky yet iconic faces combined with a genuine disdain for superficial Hollywood that made fans double take at a seemingly plastic Jim Carrey. Plus, you have plastic surgeons on YouTube claiming that there is no doubt he had work done.
Hi, this is Dr. Steinberg for Alpha Male Plastic Surgery. Now, here's the latest of Jim Carrey. So definitely very masculine appearing here. Sometimes when people get a little bit overfilled, they can be more feminized. This face is higher, and we can tell that because there's a descent of the tip, there's the descent of a chin. One little hint that I can see is his transverse rhytids, the wrinkles, are a little bit higher and elevated here, which is a sign of an endoscopic brow lift. He's definitely had some filler here. May have had some implantations here. Could have been a jaw implant, a wraparound implant, or it could just be a lift with injectables, either a filler, which is off the shelf like a hyaluronic acid, or it could be some fat.
Jim's never needed to preserve his face for future movie opportunities, but permanently altering his face with filler and invasive surgery felt like an abandonment of his principles as an artist. Then again, it's not that hard to be convinced to get these surgeries when literally every single person in Hollywood is doing it, and we all feel some insecurity about aging. And whether Jim Carrey was doing some sort of social experiment or performance art, or just showing signs of human vanity, the fact that so many people were convinced so quickly that this was not the real him is scary, and proves we can't even trust the things we see with our own eyes.